Hello, this is Brenda Green, and I'd like to welcome you to Living in the Go. We're continuing our series on building wealth and generational wealth, and having a will or a trust is just one component of that. You'd be amazed at how many people need these documents, but they don't have them. They give you various excuses of why they haven't, or they're going to get around to it, or they don't think they need it. But I'm here to tell you that these are life-changing, and these are documents that you definitely need to have, especially if you are looking at generational wealth and how you can pass things down to your heirs. So let's get into it. So what's the difference between a will and a trust? Well, wills you've probably heard about. It's a legal document that gives you the means to distribute your assets after you're dead, and you can appoint guardians for your children if they're under the age of 18. So all of that can be spelled out in a will. A will is important to have because it allows you to communicate exactly what you want. You've heard of relatives come on the scene after someone has died. Well, Aunt Jean promised me her pearls. Well, did she? And if she really wanted you to have them, it would have been in the will. So that's the benefit of having a will in place. A trust is a document that allows a third party, it could be a bank or whatever, to hold your assets in trust. And when you die, those things specifically are passed on to your beneficiaries. The beauty of a trust is that you don't have to go through probate. Probate means that if you die without a will or a trust, then the state decides where your money goes. And if it goes into probate, the length of time varies between state to state. In Illinois, if you die without a will, you can be in probate for 9 months. In California, you can be in probate for 2 years. So it's really important that you have these documents in place. So let's look at first a revocable living trust, which is what I have. And it gives the individual time that you have your assets in this trust, you still own them. And if you want to make changes because it's revocable, you can do that as well. Let's say if you want to leave it to dies, well, then you want to make changes in your trust to make sure that it goes to the right place. So revocable is a good thing to have. Now, if you look at a will, again, we talk about how you can designate who gets your money, who's the guardians for your family. But you can also say, put an executor in charge of your will. So let's say you want to have a family member be in charge if you have minor children, then you would appoint them as an executor of the will to make sure that your instructions are carried out. There are a lot of benefits to having the will and the trust, certainly, because you can control your wealth. If you die and you have a home and you leave it in a trust, it goes directly to your heirs. So they don't have to pay all these expensive fees and costs that go to the government when all of that can be saved. So that's, again, keeping money within your portfolio. It protects your legacy. It protects your heirs, seriously, because, again, it's less stress for them. So think about those things when you're looking at should you have a will or should you have a trust. I would say anyone that owns a home should have a will and a trust. Nonstop, it's not even a starter. If you have a home, then you need to do that, because if you die, it's going to go somewhere else. And if you don't have children, but you have a home, you still need to have a will and a trust, because you want to make sure that your home goes to whoever you want it to, whether it be nieces and nephews or a parent. All of those things will be determined by the state if you don't have these documents in place. So, as always, I do have my beliefs, and I want to share those with you. So, wills and trusts are to protect your assets. So it makes sure that the things that you own now goes to who you want it to in the future. And let's face it, we're not going to be here forever. We think we are. Sometimes I've even heard people say that with superstition, of course, if I make a will out, I'm going to die. Well, you're going to die. Whether you do a will or not, you're going to die. So why not make sure you have those things in place? There are inexpensive ways to get these documents. You can go to an attorney and they would charge you roughly about $2,000 to do a trust and a will for your estate. Well, what I did was there was a fundraising drive on one of the local channels for PBS, public broadcasting. And if I gave a contribution to that channel, I got some documents from Susie Orman that allowed me to create a will and a trust for myself. And guess what? It was only $230. So I got the benefit of having those documents, plus I gave some money to charity. So it was a win-win all around, but certainly less expensive than going to a lawyer. People are vulnerable in times of grief. When someone dies, you're not thinking about the assets, you're not thinking about where things are going to go, and people can come in and play on your emotions and try to get things from you. If there's a will and a trust in place, it doesn't matter what these people say to you, those things will be designated according to the will and the trust because it's law. Those documents are legal and they're binding and they can't be changed. So when you execute a will and a living trust or even an advance directive, these are gifts for your family. It gives them structure. It tells them what you want to have done with your money. So do that. Don't be selfish. Don't have them confused and struggling and trying to figure things out. Make sure that you put those things in place. And as I always say, a goal is just a wish without a plan. So if you're thinking about these things and you can say, I'm going to get to it, that's not a plan. Make sure you do those things. Put everything in order. You'll sleep better at night, I promise you. And as always, I want to thank you so much for your time and your attention. I hope this was helpful for you. And if you like this, hit the like button, share it with your friends. Make sure that you subscribe if you're not a subscriber, because again, we're spreading a movement here. And this year, we're really focusing on generational wealth and how to make sure that we have it and can pass it on. Thank you.